students, welcome back to my channel. This is our new week, so I have a new video for all of you. For today's lesson, we still on Unit 2, Fact or Fiction. But for today, our topic is about a famous writer. Skill that we are going to focus on today is a language awareness, or known as grammar in English. We will learn and revise about was, were, could, and could not, and we're gonna have some simple revision about past simple for regular and irregular verbs. Are you ready? We shall start now. This is our today's lesson, which is Unit 2, Fact or Fiction. For today's topic, we are going to learn about a famous writer. As you can see, our skill for today's lesson is about language awareness, or we call it as grammar. We move on to the next slide, which is the table of the contents. So as you can see, number 1 is the pre-lesson. Number 2 is the activity. For activity part, we have 4 different activity for you. Number 3, we're gonna do some exercises, which is we have 2 exercises. And then the last part is the post lesson, which is we're gonna do a recap on today's topic. I hope this 4 golden reminder will make it as a fun and productive class for all of you. We will continue to the first part for today's lesson, which is the pre-lesson. Let's have a look at this slide. So can you see this sentence? As you can see, this sentence is in the wrong order. Okay, before I ask you what you need to do, let us read the sentence together. So, bus on was a performance, they're moving. So, these are the sentences that in the wrong order, and then I want you to write this sentence in the correct order. Once you have done, we will discuss the answer together. Have you done it? Let us check the answer. So here is the answer for this sentence. So it starts with there was a performance on a moving bus, meaning that there is a performance on a moving bus, but then this sentence is already happened, and that is why we use was in this sentence. And this is where we are going to learn today about was, were, could, and could not. We will continue to the second part for today's lesson, which is activity time. In this part, we will learn about was, were, could, and could not. I will explain to you for was and were, and we do the activity. After that, I will explain about could and could not, and we will do the activity regarding to the subtopic. We will move on to the next slide, which is was versus were. So both was and were are the past tense of the verb to be. So do you know what is verb to be? So verb to be is example is, or are. So was is the past tense for verb is. Was can be used only with the first and third person singular like I, he, she, it. For were, it can be used with the rest of the pronouns like you, we, that. And were is the past tense for the verb are. So when you want to write the sentence that already happened, so you need to use was for singular, were for plural. If you already understand it, we will do activity 1. So for this activity 1, you need to study the table. After that, you need to complete sentences 1 until 3 with was not, and were. Now let's have a look at the table given. So as you can see, the first table given to you is the affirmative sentences. The second one is the negative sentences. The third one is question. And then the fourth one is the short answers. So before you complete these sentences, okay, I want you to read each sentence for each column. So as you can see, we will start with the affirmative sentences first. For affirmative sentence, the sentence is positive. So we use was or were in this affirmative sentence. So here is the example. He was a student in Madrid. So this sentence we are using was because the action is already happened. Meaning that maybe he is no longer a student because he already graduated, and that is why we use was to indicate the action that happened in the past. Okay, for negative sentences, negative sentences is you are using was not or were not. Okay, so for these negative sentences, we have they were not from Scotland. So as you can see, we use were because the subject is plural. So that is why we use were. As you can see just now, you, we, they, we use were because it is a plural. So for this sentence, they were not from Scotland. Maybe the sentence wants to indicate that they were not longer from Scotland because they maybe migrate to another country or another places. Okay, so here is the question. So question is given to you, were we, you, they in the show? So if you still can remember, we, you, they, we need to use were. Okay, and then was is for I, he, she, it. But for short answer, okay, you can see here, no, I, he, she, it wasn't. Okay, or was not. Okay, so this is the negative answer. But for here, yes, we, you, they, were. So this is the positive answer. Now, I want you to complete sentences 1, 2, and 3. Once you have done, we will discuss the answer together. So as you can see, this is the answers for sentence number 1 and sentence number 2. So for sentence number 1, many events were for teenagers. So as you can see, the subject is plural, so that is why we use were. Okay, for negative sentences, okay, as you can see, it is a singular, and that is why we need to use wasn't. Okay, so it wasn't a good play, or it was not a good play. For sentence number 3, okay, before you answer, you need to look at the subject. So can you see I, he, she, it? So these are the singular, and that is why we need to use was. Okay, so the answer is, was I, or was he, or was she, or was it a famous actor? So you need to remember that if it's singular, you need to use was, but if it is plural, you need to use were. So now I want you to look at this one. So can you see the word wasn't and were? Okay, so these are the negative answer. Okay, how you pronounce this word? So it is wasn't. Okay, or you can read it as the full sentence like was not. Okay, but when you see this word, you pronounce it wasn't. Okay, for this word, this one is weren't. Okay, so this is how you pronounce the word. But if it's written were not, so you need to pronounce were not. If you see this word like this, so you need to pronounce weren't. Okay. We will move on to the next part, which is activity 2. For this activity 2, you need to complete the question with was and were. And then you can write your short answers. So just now we already learned about was and were, and when we want to use was and were. So now let's have a look at this example. Okay, so this example is we have question and you need to have your short answer. As you can see, the question here, you interested in books 5 years ago? So as you can see, the subject is you. So you is the pronouns, okay? You need to use were, okay? If you still remember you, we, they, we need to use were, okay? So you need to put, were you interested in books 5 years ago? So the answer is no, I was not. Okay. Now these are the questions that will given to you. So for question number 1, okay, you need to read the question first. Okay, then you write, is it was or were? And then you need to have your short answer here. Okay, for question number 2, we have this sentence, which is Sherlock Holmes a real person. So you need to put whether was or were and then your short answer here. And this is question number 3. You need to put is either was or were. Okay, so any of Shakespeare's plays, comedies. So you need to have your short answer here. Okay. You will do this one first. Later, we will discuss the answer. Okay, so as you can see, the question number 1, so this is the answer. Okay, we use were in this question. Were the Harry Potter films good? Okay, why we use were? Because the subject is the plural. Okay, as you can see, films good. Okay, meaning that Harry Potter, we have a lot of Harry Potter story or film. Okay, then you need to use were. Okay, so your answer would be yes, they were, or you can write your answer no, they were not. Okay, so the second question, this is the answer. Okay, was Sherlock Holmes a real person? So Sherlock Holmes is a one person. Okay, so one person, it is a singular and we need to use was. Okay, so the question is asking, was Sherlock Holmes a real person? So the answer will be no, he was not. Okay. For question number 3, okay, so the question is any of Shakespeare's plays comedies? So we need to use were. Okay, the answer is were because Shakespeare, we have a lot of comedies, meaning that we have a lot of Shakespeare's work. So we need to use were because it is many and we need to use were. Okay, so the answer is yes, they were. Okay, have you got all the answer? I hope that you understand why we need to use was and were. We are done with activity 1 and activity 2. Now let us proceed to activity 3. For activity 3, you need to study the table first and then choose the correct words could and couldn't to complete the rules. So now, before we start with the activity, I want to explain to you what is could and could not. Okay, could and couldn't. So what it is, could and couldn't are the past tense forms of can and can't. Okay, could and couldn't refers to ability or inability in the past. Okay, as you can see, we use could to mean that we were able to do something in the past. Like example, when she was 1, she could walk. Okay, so we use couldn't to means that we will not be able to do something in the past. Okay, like example, when she was 1, she couldn't speak. Okay, meaning that for could is something that we were able to do in the past. Okay, but for couldn't is something that we will not be able to do something in the past. Okay, now we will look into the table given to you. So as you can see, we have affirmative sentence, negative sentence, we have question and also the short answers. Okay, now we will look into each sentence for each part. Okay, for affirmative sentence, you can see you could watch unknown performance. Okay, so for negative sentence, they couldn't perform at that festival. For question is, could she sing? Okay, so we use the, for question, we need to use could at the front of the sentence. So for short answers, we have, if we answer yes, so we need to have yes, she could. Okay, but if we answer no, so no, she couldn't. Okay, because could is for negative, could is for positive sentence and couldn't is for negative sentence. Now we will look into these rules. Okay, you need to read this rule first and then you need to complete the rules. So for A, it does mention the infinitive or past simple form of the main verb follows could. Okay, for B, we use could and couldn't to talk about ability and possibility in the present or past. Okay, so for this one, I want you to choose is either one of these words that complete the rules for A and B. Okay, so for A, you need to choose is either infinitive or past simple. For B, you need to choose is either present or past. Okay, you can look at the table. Okay, you can look at this table and then you will decide which words that complete the rule just now. Okay, once you have done, we will discuss which are the words that complete these rules. It's time for us to discuss which word that complete this rule. Okay, so as you can see, these are the answer for rules A. We have the answer is infinitive. Okay, the infinitive form of the main verb follows could. Okay, why? Because you need to remember after could and couldn't, we need to use the infinitive without to. Okay, like we learned before, to infinitive, but means that to infinitive is the root verb. Okay, so if we use watch, okay, we cannot write watch with ed. Okay, and then we don't have to put to watch. Okay, so you can see this example, you could watch unknown performance. Okay, so watch is the infinitive form. Okay, without you adding to at the front. Okay, we don't write you could to watch unknown performance. Okay, instead of that one, we write like this. Okay, you could watch unknown performance. So we don't have to put ed because you need to remember could and couldn't. We use the infinitive. Okay, so rules number 2, which is B. Okay, we use could and couldn't to talk about ability and possibility in the past. Okay, because if you still remember that I teach you just now, could and couldn't is for past tense. Okay, not for present, because present is can or can't. Do you understand just now how we use could and couldn't? Okay, if yes, we will proceed to activity 4, which is you need to complete the conversation with could and couldn't. So, can you see this dialogue? Okay, so this is the activity 4, which is you need to write. You need to complete the conversation with could or couldn't. So before you write down your answer, I need you to read this dialogue first. So let us read together, okay? So Jenny, was the play good last night? Okay, John, yes, but I, okay, see very well. Okay, we get seats near the front. Okay, then Jenny answer, you understand it, though? Okay, I think Shakespeare's difficult. Okay, John answer, yes, we. Okay, so this play was in modern English, so we easily follow it. Okay, so you have the blanks there. So we have five sentence that is incomplete, and you need to complete this sentence using could and could not. Okay, I give you time to do this one first. Okay, later we will discuss the answer together. Okay, time's up. So now we will discuss the answer. These are the answer for incomplete conversation. As you can see, okay, Jenny is asking, was the play good last night? Okay, and then John answered, yes, but I couldn't see very well. Okay, we couldn't get seats near the front. Okay, Jenny asked again, okay, could you understand it too? Okay, I think Shakespeare's difficult. Okay, so John is answering Jenny's question by yes, we could. Okay, so this play was in modern English, so we could easily follow it. Okay, so these are the conversation between Jenny and John. So John is understand about the play last night, but Jenny could not understand because she thinks that Shakespeare is difficult. Okay, so these are the answer. I hope you get the all the answer correct. Okay, we are done with the activities. Now we will do some exercises for today's lesson. This is the third part for today's lesson, which is exercise. For this part, you're going to have two exercises, which is exercise 1 and exercise 2. Okay, now I want to do with you exercise 1 first. Okay, we do together. And then we will discuss the answer. Once we are done with exercise 1, we will do exercise 2. Okay, for exercise 1, you need to read the words given. Okay, when you read the words, then you need to write question using the words given with could. Okay, so there is a link that you need to do the exercise. Okay, you can click on the link. I will put in the description and you will click on the link so you can do this exercise. So these are the example. Okay, before you start with exercise 1, I want to show you the example on how you want to do this exercise. Okay, so the example is, you see the words here. Okay, so these are the words. Okay, we have read, when, for. So you are using this word to make a question. Okay, so you need to make a question using could. So the answer for this word, okay, I already write the question. So the answer is, could you read when you were 4? Okay, so as you can see, I am using these words, okay, to make a question. So I use could at the front of the question. So these are question 1, okay, and then this question 2, question 3, and question 4. Okay, so we have 4 questions. You need to use all the words given, okay, to help you write a good question. And do not forget, you need to use could. Okay, just now I just want to show you on how to do the exercise. Okay, so these are the exactly on how you want to write down your answer. So these are the Google form. Okay, as you can see, exercise 1. Okay, you need to read the instruction first. Okay, read the words given, write question using the words given with could. Okay, so I've already shown you the example. Okay, now I want you to write, okay, question using could using these words given to you. Okay, you will write your answer here. Okay, so you can write down your answer. Once you have done with all of this, okay, so we have 4 questions, isn't it? So once you have done with all the questions, you can submit, then we discuss the answer. Now we will discuss the answer together. As you can see, for number 1 here, the words is ride a bicycle when 6. So the answer here is, could you ride a bicycle when you were 6? Okay, so we use could as asking the question. Okay, number 2 here is the words use a computer when it. Okay, so the answer would be, could you use a computer when you were 8? Okay, so we are using could in asking the question. For number 3, we have the words speak English when 10. Okay, so since could is the past tense for this one, so we use could you speak English when you were 10? Okay, meaning that the action is already happened. Okay, so we need to use could you, okay, and then were, okay, not are. Okay, so you need to be alert with this one. Now the last one is the word cook when 12. So the answer is, could you cook when you were 12? Okay, so when you answer all the question and you got all correct, so you have the full mark here, which is 8/8. It's okay if you have if you answer incorrectly, because this is how we learn grammar. We will move on to the next exercise, which is exercise 2. Okay, for this exercise 2, you need to complete the text with the past simple forms of the verbs in the brackets. Okay, so for this activity, it will give you further practice in the past simple of regular and irregular verb. So I want you to read the whole text first before you complete the text with past simple form of the verb in the bracket. Okay, so this one you will do by your own, and then you need to complete the exercise. Once you have done, we will discuss the answer. So as you can see, there is a link for this exercise. Okay, you can click on the link in the description of this video. If you want to do this exercise, you can click on the link. Okay, so here I want to show you the text, okay, for this exercise. So this is a story about Charles Dickens. So you need to read the text first. Okay, once you have read, then you need to complete the text using past simple form. Okay, so as you can see here, number 1, okay, who, number 1, the blanks, and then the bracket is B. So you need to write the appropriate answer for question 1 until 14. Okay, let me show you the worksheet. Okay, when you click on the link just now, it will go to this page, which is, this is the live worksheet. So you can write down your answer here. Okay, so these are the exercise 2, which is simple past form. Okay, so in this exercise 2, you need to complete the text with the past simple forms of the verbs in the brackets. Okay, so this is a story about Charles Dickens. So you read this text first and then you can write down your answer. Okay, how you want to write your answer? You can click on the box here, then you can write your answer. For example, number 1. Okay, B is the verb like is and are. Just now we learned about was and were, isn't it? So we can use was and were for this text. Okay, so can you see the be verb here? So who Charles Dickens, so you can write who was Charles Dickens. Okay, so this is the past simple form of this verb in the bracket. Okay, so when you see like this one, number 3, live. So live is you need to write the past simple for live. Okay, then you can write down your answer there. You need to complete all the question. You need to complete all the questions. So we have 14 questions. You need to write all the answer. Once you have done, we will discuss together. Have you answered all the questions? Now we will discuss the answers together. So as you can see, this text is a story about Charles Dickens. So number 1, the answer is was. So who was Charles Dickens? Okay, so number 2, the answer is was. Okay, he was an English writer who, number 3, live in the bracket. So live for past tense is lived. Okay, so we need to put D. Okay, so who lived from 1812 to 1870. Okay, he, number 4, the answer is wrote. Okay, why? Because write, the past tense for write is wrote. Okay, so when you can see that one, that is the irregular verb. So irregular verb for write is wrote. Okay, he wrote 15 novels, including A Christmas Carol and Oliver Twist. Now we will look into the next question. Okay, so for number 5, the verb in the bracket is he write. Okay, so the answer is what did he write? Okay, so a lot of his book, okay, were about poor people. Okay, why we use were? Because a lot of his books, okay, books is a plural, so we need to use were. Okay, number 7, okay, not have. Okay, so not have, the past tense for not have is did not have. Okay, didn't have. So number 7, the answer is they didn't have an easy life in the 19th century. Okay, so number 8, okay, not think for past tense is didn't think. So the answer for number 8 is Dickens didn't think people should live in bad conditions, and he tried for try, the past tense for try is tried. Okay, so as you can see, the try is the irregular verb, so we need to change Y to IED. Okay, and he tried to make people think about these problems. Okay, for number 10, okay, why people like his book? So this you need to write in the past tense. So why did people like his books? Because they, okay, number 11, for past tense, have is had. Okay, so the answer is because they had exciting stories and interesting characters. Okay, so everyone in the bracket love. So love, past tense for love is loved. Okay, you need to put D at the end. So everyone loved them. Even people who, okay, can you still remember cannot? Okay, so past tense for cannot is couldn't. So the answer for number 13 is who couldn't read. Okay, last one, D. Okay, past tense for pay is paid. Okay, so the answer is they paid other people to read the books for them. So these are the answer for this exercise 2. Okay, it's okay if you got the incorrect answer. You can try it again by refreshing this page, then you can do it again. Okay, I hope you understand why the answer is like this one, because we need to change the verb, okay, into past tense. Our lesson has come to the end. So this is the last part for today's lesson, which is the post lesson. In this part, we will do some recap regarding on today's topic. So what have you learned today? So today we learned about was, were, could and couldn't. We also learned about wasn't and weren't. Okay. Then we also do some simple revision regarding on the past simple form of the verb. Okay, now what is was and were? So was and were are the past tense of the verb to be. So if you still remember, was is used with singular like I, he, she, it. Okay, so was is the past tense for is. Were can be used with the rest of the pronouns like you, we, they. Okay, and then were is also the past tense for the verb are. So what is the difference between was, were, wasn't and weren't? Okay, so the difference is was and were we use in affirmative sentence, wasn't and weren't we use in negative sentence. So now let's have a look at this one. What is could and couldn't? So could and couldn't is the past tense form of can and can't. Okay, so what are the reasons using could and couldn't? So the reason we use could and couldn't is to refer to the ability or inability in the past, or we can say that we use could and couldn't to talk about the ability and possibility in the past. Okay, so you need to remember that if we use could, you need to use the infinitive form of the main verb. Okay, I think that is all for today's lesson. Thank you so much. Hope you will enjoy for today's lesson. See you again. That is all for today's lesson. I hope all of you were enjoying the video and hope that you can get something good from it. We will meet again in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.